The smartest guys around are about to break it down like they've won the game a million times.
Well, actually, they didn't really win the game at all.
Survivor know it all. Survivor know it all. Stephen and Rob without a doubt got the game all figured out. They know it all.
Yeah, that's right. The Survivor Know It All are here to talk about a very special all-influencer episode of Survivor. And here he is, the ultimate influencer in the literary world. It's Stephen Fishbach.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to be back talking to you about this. This episode was great. Like, I came in with medium expectations. I was excited, but who knows? It's one episode. It was really good. Like, a lot happened in this, 48 hours of gameplay that, and a really crazy tribal council. I know it didn't look like it on its surface, but I think like a lot of crazy stuff happened.
Okay, well, this is fantastic news. Stephen has not been podcasting all summer long, so he's shot out of a cannon here today to talk about the influencer edition of Survivor. And if you don't know what we're talking about, if you just got this podcast in your feed and like, hey, hold on, did you drop the Survivor 49 episode a week early? No. Consider this episode 0 of Survivor 49 because Survivor sent 8 influencers to Fiji and filmed them for 36 hours to give it a Survivor experience, and we're going to break it all down here today with you.
Woo! Yeah. So, should we just jump in? Where should we start, Rob?
Sure. Well, let's just set the stage a little bit. So, of course, you
I'm
can
a little
watch
rusty
this.
here. I haven't podcasted
You
for
can
like 5
watch
months.
this if you haven't seen the influencer episode. It should be up on the Survivor on CBS YouTube channel and all the social channels. So you can see that. And we're going to have full spoilers of all of that. Plus, I will have an exit interview with the person who got voted out. Did you know this?
I didn't. That's amazing.
Yes, I will be doing an exit interview with the first person
Finally, they can
voted
settle their
out.
scores.
And we will hear all of the tea from everything. And so that is what we're going to talk about here today. And then in our regular time slot, Wednesday night after the episode, Stephen and I will break down episode 1 of Survivor 49. And of course, Stephen has been hard at work all summer long, spreading the good word about the new book, Escape.
Yes, which you can buy now at stephenfishbach.com. There are signed copies available. There's a link to them from my website. So please check that out. And I will be relentlessly speaking about that through the next few months until it releases in January.
And a big part of the story was for the influencers who all got to experience that they could only imagine what it was like to go and be on a Survivor type island. They had dreamed about it. They had watched it for all these many years, but through the power of words and literature, Stephen Fishbach will bring you that experience in the book Escape.
I actually think, that's actually a great pitch for this. You've got a career with this, like talking about things with your mouth deal that you're doing. Yeah, that's a great pitch for the book. It does, like, the idea is that it does kind of immerse you in what it actually like feels like to be on a jungle reality show. In a way that I think, you don't necessarily get from like watching some of these shows.
Yeah, because only 36 people a year get to go do it on. So you got to wait your turn unless you're an influencer. You get to go and try it out. But for everybody else, that you might just have to live vicariously through the characters and escape.
Listen, please live vicariously. And again, by pre-ordering. That's the best way to live vicariously. But let's talk about this episode.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, this is like a pre-order of the Survivor 49 season of we're getting a little bit before it's actually released coming up on Wednesday. And so this was an exciting idea when I first heard about it. I know that you want to jump in and talk about the tribal council because this was a bit of a blindside to me. I was not expecting the person who went home, Hannah, to go home with 4 votes. And I feel like that I didn't even see Hannah's name being talked about. I thought it was Tommy Smokes and Phaith that we're going to be getting some vote. And then when Karl Jacobs plays the idol for Phaith, I was like, uh-oh, Tommy Smokes is in trouble here. And then it was Hannah.
So that's what I thought happened too the first time I watched it. So I went back and rewatched the episode a second time because I was like, hold on a second. Hannah, like, I can't possibly talk about this. How did Hannah go home? And when I watched it the second time, like, suddenly the whole thing became clear. So Karl gets it in his mind that Hannah and Alyssa are too close and he wants to split up this duo. So he says, like, what if we do, one of either Hannah or Alyssa? Then we see him say it again a little bit later with Klitz and Tommy. And it looks like what actually happened was this 4-person alliance of Tommy, Klitz, Karl, and Phaith pulled off, like, was actually kind of an incredible move here. They got the rest of the group to split the votes between 2 people and then formed their own voting block majority. And the 4 of them piled votes on Hannah. So what I believe what happened is Hannah and Alyssa voted for, I think they voted for Phaith.
They could have used the end credits where we saw how everybody voted.
Yeah, I know that would have been really useful to like show us. And then the other 2, I think, voted. Yes. And then Davis.
Hold on, let me get a pen here. So, yeah. All right. So say it one more time.
So the plan, the false plan masterminded by Karl, Tommy, Klitz, and Phaith is that the whole group is going to split votes between Tommy and Phaith. But what actually happens, I believe, and I could have 1 or 2 wrong here, is that Hannah and Alyssa vote for Phaith. Davis and Monet vote for Tommy. And the rest of the group, it looked from the episode, Karl got credit for this idea. Karl, Klitz, Phaith, and Tommy all vote for Hannah and to split her up with Alyssa. And it's actually like, I love this alliance. Like, this alliance of Klitz, Karl, Tommy, and Phaith, like, that feels like a classic Survivor foursome. You have, like, Klitz, like the big character leader. He's out there doing too much. He's a big target. He's like, Aaron from China. You have, Karl, who's like, he's got these individual connections with everybody. He's kind of like keeping it cool, like being more in the background. So kind of like Todd, okay. Phaith is Courtney, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's Phaith more of a Courtney or Caroline. Like,
I can see it in terms of like, okay, that is in the challenge. People are like saying like, oh, is Phaith really even doing anything?
And she's like, I would have quit, except like, except Karl like gave me his sweater last night. Now I'm like loyal to him forever. She's
Tommy
gonna make
Smokes is the Amanda.
I guess Tommy does like. Tommy feels more like a Stephen or a Cochran. Like, he's worried about ticks. I was worried about ticks. He has to pee a lot. I had to pee a lot. But
ironically, I don't think that ticks are that big of a deal on Survivor.
I don't think so either. Yeah. It's more like, it feels like more of a US thing.
Although that they tell you in Scotland, you really have to watch out for ticks.
Ticks are scary. There's like the diseases from ticks are a big deal.
Yeah. Oh no, no, Joe, we don't need to I don't want to minimize it. Yeah. It's just, I don't know if in the tropical location, if ticks are a big concern.
Yeah. I've never heard of anybody getting a tick on Survivor, as far as I know, a tick bite. So less of a tick. I Googled
actually,
it.
Survivor Africa, that there was an issue where that Lindsay had a tick and Big Tom needed to really inspect her rear end to check out her tick bite.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Different biome.
Yeah, right. Okay, that makes sense. But like apparently there are ticks in Fiji, but it's not as big a deal as like mosquitoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I've never been.
No, I just Googled it.
Oh, okay.
I was curious. I was like, could I ever? Maybe I really couldn't ever go on Survivor now if there's like a big tick problem.
Okay. Yeah. Tick on your bucket list to get Lyme disease. Yeah. Okay. All right, so interesting. So there was this alliance of because we saw a little bit of it, but we never really saw the 4 of them together. I don't think, right?
there might have been one moment, and we saw them in groups of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the scramble was very hard to keep track of because we kept on getting these like very quick cuts of little groups of 2s and 3s. I don't know if we ever saw that 4. I mean, there was, 4, Phaith did talk about to that group, I think specifically, like she would be willing to be a decoy target and then make a big move.
Yeah, it's an interesting setup here where it was basically going to be like one tribal council. And so basically it's like one person was going to be voted out, but nobody was going to win.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like that everybody was kind of like incentivized to just like, well, what sort of fireworks can you set off here in this one shining tribal council?
Yeah. And I mean, Karl playing the idol for Phaith, which again, like in this hypothetical world where this season continues, like it was sort of a misplay because he didn't need to play it. But I actually think with Phaith specifically, that's going to buy him a lot of loyalty down the line. Phaith was like, I can't vote for Karl. He's the guy who made the fire. He's the guy who kept us warm. I think Phaith is going to be like loyal to Karl. So even though it seemed like he didn't necessarily need to play the idol, I think it could have been a big hypothetical good move.
Yeah. And so then the Hannah Alyssa pair is broken up.
Yeah. Right. And so Alyssa, who was, I feel like they were very confident in their duo where they, didn't think people were onto them, but Tommy knew instantly. And they became a big target.
And this was a good move because then I feel like then the next round of voting, like had this continued on, I think that there's going to be a lot of people trying to pull for Phaith to come back and try to be there'll be like some sort of like counter movement towards Klitz and Karl and Tommy. Is like, hey, Phaith, are you really going to vote with them? And then Phaith is like, hey, Karl just played an idol on me.
Exactly. And, gave her his sweater. Like, I feel like that's like that she was that kind of swing vote because, we heard about like there was the girls in the Gays Alliance. They had 5. And then there were like I think they called like themselves like the leftovers and they had
the others.
The others. Yeah. And there were 3 of them. Now suddenly there's 4 of them on a 7-person tribe instead of 3 on an 8-person tribe. That's better. 4 on 7.
Okay. Stephen, I'd love to just talk a little bit about the fact that Survivor did this, and what does it mean that Survivor did this? And Jeff talked a little bit about like, okay, this is the first ever Survivor influencer thing, and maybe it might be the last, depending on how you guys do. But it really did seem like that by Tribal Council, Jeff had been pretty won over about the idea.
Yeah, he was. It does feel like Survivor has entered the cultural conversation in a really new way in the last couple of years. Where I always go back to that Gabby tweet about like how people are like, oh, I discovered this obscure show. Certainly with the pandemic, obviously, kind of like its profile was raised, but now it seems like it's really suddenly taken on again this mainstream role, and I think that Survivor as an institution is being really smart with finding new ways to engage their best advocates, and reach out to people in, across these new media. And I feel like a lot of, having come from MTV, we really struggled with that question of like, you can't just take a viral, it was Vine at the time, a Vine star and put them on TV. Like it doesn't translate, but like finding ways to, use these people in like, like tangential and related fashion is actually like kind of brilliant.
Yeah, it is something that bears watching in terms of like the future of Survivor, because that Survivor, the incredible legacy and history, 25 years, and of course going into Survivor 50, has often tried to cater to, Jeff had said in the past, like, hey, we're just making a show for our fans. We're not trying to find new fans. We're here we make the show for the people who've been watching us for 25 years. But in recent times, it does seem like that there is a more embrace of the people who are discovering the show recently. And, that they've made overtures to cater to younger people. And, we have the embrace of all the influencers here. I suspect this is something that you're not aware of, but over the summer, Jeff appeared on a video for a very popular YouTuber, Ryan Trahan, to talk about that. He made a video, and Ryan Trahan was traveling to 50 states in 50 days and was watching Survivor along the way. And that he was raising money for St. Jude, and Jeff and Paramount made a donation to St. Jude and appeared in a Ryan Trahan video. So I do think that there is this reaching out to influencers to try to get people to discover the show by way of these social media stars.
I think you're right. The barriers sort of are coming down, more and more. And even just an awareness of people's relationships outside the show. I think Jeff referred to maybe on 50, they would be bringing in people's outside dynamics, which they never used to do, right? That was absolutely taboo. Like, you could not be conceived of having any kind of human existence beyond your appearance on the show. But so for them to be talking about like, oh, hey, like, this is a part of a culture rather than like this is the exclusive, this is like a little hermetically sealed bubble. I think that's what it might have, that may have made sense 10 years ago. And now it makes much more sense to kind of be aware of the broader cultural movements.
Yeah. And so do you think that this could ever be a part of, like, if not like a full, like, 26-day season of Survivor, that do you think that we could ever see some sort of like influencer edition, or even like a full-fledged like celebrity season of Survivor that maybe isn't, and we just saw with the success of Australian Survivor versus the world, a like 12-day, 10-day celebrity season of Survivor? Because it had always been talked about.
Yeah.
And Jeff, I remember specifically saying like, no, we would never do that, because that for us to do it, or maybe it could have been Mark Burnett also, because we would want it to be like A-listers. We want like Tom Cruise and George Clooney to do this. And if we couldn't get those people, that's why we would be against it. But like, I kind of feel like that in a world where, if you take a look at some of the other reality success stories in the world, that I think a celebrity season of Survivor, like, these probably would be the types of people that you would see on a celebrity season of Survivor. And I think it would get a lot of attention.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that they're being even freer with the format, like with this, Survivor Cafe that's opening up, where it's like, you can like, clearly they're being more open with the idea of Survivor as being, a format and like kind of a vibe that you can translate to other places and, have success with. In my head, I have the idea that they or someone is making like a kind of like mini Survivor, like place, like thing that you can do. Like, am I wrong about that, other than the Survivor Cafe? Like that there's like some sort of like Survivor, like mini, like game somewhere. I don't know. I'm just making that. I mean,
really there's like off-brand, like,
but I'm thinking on-brand,
games.
like any like on. I was thinking of, in my head it's there, but I didn't sleep much last night. So
I just wonder if this could be sort of like a test balloon of like, I don't think that this would like replace like, okay, Survivor 53 is going to be all influencers, that's what's normally going to be. But I wonder where we've seen with the challenge.
Yeah, Challenge All Stars is a perfect example.
On Paramount Plus this summer, it's going to be, some kind of like, whether it's Celebrity Survivor or however they wanted to do it. And it would be, whether it's influencers, housewives, other reality stars, different, celebrities that would go out and who have been Survivor super fans, who would go do a thing for 10 days, put it on Paramount Plus. I feel like, I think Survivor would like this. And I think that the fans, as long as it did not replace like what would be a normal season of Survivor, I think people would like this.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the traders is doing like the reality star traders and then the normal people traders. And it does make sense. And like, Challenge, of course, Challenge All Stars are, of course, also Challenge competitors, but it really does make a lot of sense. Because I think you're right that the audience for Survivor has a big appetite for more Survivor, but that kind of thing also brings in new fans who, want to watch the show. And I think there's something fun about them feeling a little freer with it. This episode was one of the reasons that made this episode so fun, was that like, it just felt like they were having fun. Like, they have this amazing format. The format is like phenomenal. And it doesn't like, sometimes you feel like this is such a serious endeavor. We're on Survivor, which is great, and you want that for like, the main Survivor. Like, this is, huge and titanic and you're on a journey of self-discovery, pitting your, but like, there's also something with like, fun Jeff, hey guys, like, mixing it up with the kids.
Fun Jeff, and it's not necessarily that they would be like doing it for the money, but like that their charity, like sort of like going back to the old like Celebrity Apprentice days of like that they are playing for $500,000 for their specific charity, and they're doing it for, and Jeff could get into like why are you doing this, and they could talk about like their cause that they believe in and what they're trying to raise awareness for. And so I think it's kind of like a win-win-win to do it as sort of like a mid-year, like over the long summer Survivor hiatus, to be able to do this in a short season version of Survivor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'd really be fun. I would watch that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or even like, we're spitballing here of, what if it was a season of Survivor that it was, influencer celebrity types versus all-stars?
That would be great. Like, that would be very fun. By the way, though, I feel like some of these influencers could actually, they could hack it. They might even be into it. Like, I mean, I feel like, Tommy Smokes, I could absolutely see him on, 26 Day Survivor. Like, what do you want? I mean, right? Like,
sure. I think that he would definitely, there would be a question of, would he want to do it?
Yeah. I mean, the same with like Karl, like could thrive. I mean, a lot of these people could just absolutely kill it out there. Klitz, I mean, I would watch him. He was fantastic TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting question in terms of like what they are going to be doing with this, because it seemed like that everybody had a lot of like, it remains to be seen like how much does the audience respond to this, because they just posted it. But I think that it certainly seems like a really good idea.
Yeah. And like it's a fun group. Yeah. I mean, it's hard because, I actually thought when I heard about it that it was going to be a 48 days, like 6 tribal councils, just like bam, 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 kind of like you go to these events and it's like a 1 day, thing and you get it all in.
You said 48 days.
48 hours. Sorry, 48 hours. Yeah.
Like, wow. Like that would be, when you first heard about it, like you thought it would be like twice the length of
longer than normal. Yeah. Twice as long. No. And so there's something like about a single vote where, to your point earlier, like there's no ramifications, right? There's no real reason not to want to get voted out. In fact, you may want to get voted out because you want your torch snuffed. I think that it did seem like everyone was playing in as pure a way as possible. Like nobody was volunteering to be voted out, but I do think it saps some of the dynamism, of it. Just the very fact that it's a single episode, and I maybe that will affect how people view it. But like if it were, 6 episods, that'd be fun.
Do you think they should have formatted it that there was some sort of like you voted for a winner at the end, or that wouldn't have made any sense?
That would be hard. I just like that's like not, you gotta get a torch snuff in there. Like someone's got to get their torch snuff. Someone's got to get interviewed by Rob the next day.
Yeah. Okay. That's got to build that into the format.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen, then there was no winner of the show, but as a keen observer of the winner's edit, who did you feel like got the winner's edit from?
This is actually sort of like an easy one, I think. And again, like I like wanted to check myself because I only knew like 2 or 3 of these people coming into this. I knew Karl from Mr. Beast, obviously. I knew Tommy, he's super active on Twitter, obviously from Barstool. And then I knew of Monet. And so I wanted to be like, am I just like focusing on the people that I'm familiar with? So when I rewatched, I really like held myself accountable. And
I have to really just give you a fishy for just your dedication to this of like that. Like I thought, okay, maybe Steven's going to phone it in on this one, but really that you, I can't believe like the work that you put in.
Well,
the dedication to the craft.
I didn't expect to watch it twice, but truly that vote was so flummoxing. I was like, I've got to see, I got to know. What happened here? So I really think that Karl is getting the winner's edit. He has this confessional early on talking about like how Survivor meant so much to him, and he watches it with his dad. That's like the classic winner's edit confessional of like, take, your life story outside the game. Monet also got one of those, but that was more focused on the challenge and being picked first. So that felt like it was more like directly story driven rather than kind of like outside the immediate story, which is why I think Karl might be getting the winner's edit. And talked about how he'd be smiling the whole time. And so again, it was like a lot of like more of his like personality. And again, I just think, just from a pure game state perspective, he is the linchpin of that group. He's the guy who formed the alliance.
Karl's the glue guy.
He's the glue guy, the real glue guy. Yeah. No offense, Sam Phelan, but you can learn some things
interesting.
Here.
Karl, winner's edit for Karl, because we see that Karl and Klitz, they have the relationship through the Mr. Beastiverse, and where Klitz is the person who's out there and is really like going for it in terms of looking for the idols and everything. That Karl has social game that Klitz ends up giving him the advantage to play. But it's also Karl who has the relationship with Tommy, that they have that bond. And so the strength of that is enough to where Phaith, I don't know how the Phaith ultimately comes to them.
Well, I think I think she wanted to do something different. I think part of it was there was this sort of like 5-person alliance. And then I think she wanted to mix it up a little bit. But I do think too that it was because of Karl building that bond. She said, like, you gave me the sweater, you built the fire. And I think that kind of, gave her, but I also think she wanted to do something fun. That's what the vibe I got. But I think so he's the one who's brought them all together. He also built fire, P.S. He's the biggest threat on the beach, but nobody is targeting him because he's got this huge meat shield with Klitz, who everybody is focused on. He's out there, looking for idols. He gives the idol. He's dominates the challenge, along with Davis. And so I think that he's in a really good spot. You kind of want to be the guy next to the guy, the guy who everybody's got the relationship with.
Yeah. So going forward, I do feel like that Klitz would be that meat shield. Also, Tommy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
That he's been through, God knows how many Barstool survivors at this point. And so he seems like somebody that I think he would be set up pretty well to play the long game.
Yeah. And I think actually, I was thinking too, he really could, you could see him, when he comes on that group and he was oh, someone says oh, speak of the devil. You can see all of the processing happening. I really feel like we could see some big strategic moves from Tommy. And I don't think he's going to wait to be that person who gets, shut out at the end. I think he's going to make his move before that happens.
Yeah. You mentioned Monet and Monet getting a really good edit. Monet gets the first confessional of the season, really opens as the narrator.
Yeah. First confessional, first picked in the challenge, does seem to be initially to me, I thought Monet was going to be the one who was moving between all of the groups. I was kind of surprised that Monet was the one left out, or not, one of the ones left out of that vote, because it seemed like Monet was in everybody's ear.
Monet is a very social player, also very good in the challenges as well. Really good shape. Monet posting on Instagram about getting stopped by security, trying to bring pounds and pounds of protein powder into different places, and then getting stopped by whatever airport officials, thinking that that's a huge bag of cocaine or something.
Yeah. And then, Davis is someone who we didn't really see a lot from, but I feel like playing a slower game might serve him really well, where, we have that scene where I think it was, who went and spoke to him? Was it Alyssa? Went and talked to him and was someone came and talked to him and said, you've got to make a, choice here. You've got immunity. And he was oh, I'm just listening. I'm just here. So, kind of really playing it cool.
Yeah. It really did throw the dynamics off a lot, where that we had our, we have to do our challenges in 3 tribes, of course. And we then had 2 people with immunity. So it really did funnel the votes down to only a couple of people, because I think that Klitz would have definitely attracted some attention had he not been immune for that vote.
Oh yeah, someone said Klitz was I think it might have been someone said Klitz was the decoy vote or the default vote, and now they're stuck with Tommy or something like that.
Yeah. So it was interesting to have, in just a small tribe of 8 where 2 people were immune off the bat.
Yeah, right. Really focuses. I mean, honestly, it's a good mechanic. Suddenly we've got, really the people to, there's a lot focuses in on just a few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Stephen, who in your mind You said Karl got the winners edit. Does he also get the fishy?
Yeah, he gets the fishy because I went back and I was like, who's the first person to bring up Hannah? And it was Karl. We actually saw like all of the times that Hannah's name was mentioned, it was coming from Karl. It did sound in a few places like it was a plan that a bunch of people were talking about, but it's not like he, from what we saw on screen, was the one to bring up Hannah and, separating her from Alyssa.
I have to give a lot of credit to the influencers who did survive, as Jeff called it, like a real storm out there, where that is the worst part of Survivor. I've said it, and you can attest to this, I'm sure, that the rain is no joke. And for, you think, okay, well, I'm only going to be out there for 36 hours. What are the chances I'm going to get rained on?
Poured on. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Were they burning? Were they using their socks? Well, I didn't understand. Are they drying their socks, or are they using their socks to feed the fire?
This was an interesting thing that you wouldn't have in a normal season of Survivor, where it seemed like they had backpacks and they had maybe a lot of stuff, whereas, okay, you're a normal Survivor and it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do? We're getting rained on. Where these players were just like, hey, let's burn some of our clothes. We don't have dry firewood, but our clothes are flammable, so we just need to get through the night here.
Yeah. But still, I mean, a brutal night like that. I mean, in a way, it's funny, like Hannah, for being the first one out, which she handled very gracefully, was the only one to actually get the full Survivor experience. Like she had her game. She had like going to the beach, the challenge. She had sleeping in the storm, and she got getting voted out. The rest of them, it's all a question mark. Like what might have happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but Hannah got her she had a whole Survivor arc.
She had a whole Survivor arc, and it's rare for us to have a Hannah go out first that is not just quitting.
Yeah, well, that's it's very funny. Yeah.
And nobody even talked about quitting.
No, well, apparently Phaith said she would have quit, except for that sweater. So that sweater was a big second fishy for the sweater.
Second fishy.
No, because it was the sweater doesn't really get agency. I just was, I know that there's a lot of ire when I give a fishy to an inanimate object.
Yeah. You haven't done that in a while.
No.
The influencers were on it when Klitz tried to name the tribe.
Oh yeah, idiots backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, "No, what is that? That's not a real thing."
They don't do it. It's good on him for trying, but it does feel like people are now they're past that phase of Survivor is in the past.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is that I'm pretty sure the Bula tribe has been has been used. And I think even like. Have we even done like Bula? Like, I think we're a little overusing the Bula tribe.
Oh, yeah. Bula was the merged tribe on Survivor Fiji. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so we've done that before.
Not clear. Yeah. Wait, there is a Bula tribe. Was there a Bula tribe last season?
No, I don't. I mean, who knows? Okay. I lost track of the merged tribe names.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Stephen, all right, as somebody who's watched this twice, was there anything else that stood out to you?
I mean, these were all of the big points, I think. It was fun to see the enthusiasm, and it really did seem like they it was a real Jeff was fun. Jeff was like having some, I liked this version of Jeff, like casual, kind of mixing it up. It was good. It was like a real episode of Survivor. I mean, truly, like that's a good move, like creating a fake split vote and then like doing a voting block that then piles votes on another person. That's a great move.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there anything that you want to know from Hannah when I speak to her?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm curious. Like, did she see it coming? Did she know? Did she know that she was on the block? Was she worried about her relationship with Alyssa, that it could create a target for her on her? Mm-hmm. And who are the people who she thought were her allies? Who didn't come through for her?
Yeah. Okay. Stephen, is there anything that you felt that going into Survivor 49 that this was like anything that was gonna give a little glimmer into what we can expect to see in Survivor 49? I feel like that we got some shots of the Tribal Council.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, of course. That's a great call. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just like what a great format this is. It's just like such like a pure, wonderful format. It works so beautifully. And it's just like exciting. It's always fun to watch. It's always exciting to watch.
Okay. You have any Survivor 49 thoughts going in? Have you looked at the cast?
I have really not. Gosh,
Mhm.
you're really exposing me here, Rob.
I'm not trying to expose
no,
you.
no, no.
I
I'm
just
kidding.
was
No.
like interested just to know your process. I mean,
I
you're
like
a
to
guy
go in
who
fresh. I feel like so many people have analyzed the cast so many different ways that ignorance is my strength. What I bring to the table is ignorance.
I don't think it's ignorance. I mean, I think that you can really get as deep as you want to go. Mike did all the interviews with everybody in Fiji, and of course, you could do all the reading and watching of that. But when you turn the show on, it's a 90-minute episode. I think even a 2-hour premiere probably coming up on Wednesday, and let's confirm that. I'm not 100% sure if it's 90 minutes or 2 hours for the first episode, but I mean, they're gonna show you what's important.
Well, it's sort of my feeling is I like to see it like through the lens of the show itself, because I feel like, that's, it's like too much knowledge about the people. It's like, something can be harder to see the show. I don't know. I'm just making up excuses for having not having had the time to do it all.
Yeah, 2-hour episode.
But I do like to I like to see what the show has to tell me. I like to, I used to like to analyze the winner's edit before I had to, became incompetent at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
so
Karl was really heavy-handed. I feel like it was over the top.
It was an over the top Karl winner at it.
And that confessional on the beach, like that was like Tommy Wendell level of like, okay.
The irony is that Beast Games is, at least from season 1, really did not have winner edit.
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, that's what sort of made it exciting, right? Was that it was like, who knows? Literally impossible to track what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It's funny that like Klitz, who designed it, came out so hard with like all of the game stuff. He found the idol, he won the challenge. He really like clearly is a lover of these games and wanted to like have it all.
Yeah, it was real like a bucket list stuff for him. So, All right, Stephen. So we'll be back on Wednesday night to talk about Survivor 49.
Oh my God, that's soon. Wednesday. Jeez.
Wednesday night, it's all coming back. Survivor Week is going to be here. Check out my interview coming up with Hannah. We'll find out what she had to say. I mean, hopefully she really like trashes the other influencers.
That wasn't the vibe I got off her, but maybe she'll do it.
It wasn't the vibe. I think they all got together in New York on Wednesday night. They had a whole thing. I saw Sari was there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they did a whole premiere party with everybody. So they got everybody back for a reunion show.
Oh, wow. So they got
the reunion show, you cowards.
Yeah, let's see what people really had to say. Let's see what their hopes and dreams are. I always like that part of the reunion show.
Okay. All right. So check that out.
How
I'll
it's
be
changed
talking
them.
with Hannah. Then also on Thursday, it's a look. Bryce Isaiah is back. He's going to tell us what we can learn about the Survivor 49 contestants based off of their cast photo. So we'll continue our annual or biannual tradition of, is it biannual?
I mean, I feel like that's always tricky. It's like biannual could mean twice a year or every other year. I never know what to say there.
Okay. Every 6 months, we do a look with Bryce. And then on Sunday night, you can jump in with the Survivor 49 preseason draft. We'll get the team back together and we'll be drafting for the winner of Survivor 49. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday night. Of course, live shows are going to be, I'll be with the Glitterati Rubbing Elbows, Stephen, in New York City on October 8th. And we just announced the tickets are on sale for everybody for Survivor 49 in San Francisco coming up on November 5th. Go to robinswebsite.com/events for ticket info. And then Stephen.
Oh, we got to get a new. I got a cover though. We need to give you a new.
Yeah, come on.
A new image.
Well, this is the good thing about the influencer season. It was sort of like, all right, for the camera people, for the editors, this was like, okay, warm up, and this was like a warm up know-it-alls for us because
I know.
We're gonna
actually feel that. I feel like I've got like talking using my mouth to talk. It's still a little rusty.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get the updated cover art for Escape.
That's something to look forward to. And there's updated pre-order links too. As I mentioned, you can go to stephenfishbach.com and order a signed copy signed by me, not somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'll get it. But if it's somebody I know, I can probably get it signed by this. Somebody local, like my neighbor, Todd. I bet he would sign it.
Okay. Not Herzog.
No, just my neighbor, Todd. He's a lovely man.
Here it is.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Great.
Cover art.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There it is.
Okay.
Looks like, is that pasted into like a Word document or something?
Yeah, we'll get that all straightened out for everything coming up next week. And then, of course, we also have some Blood on the Clocktower
Yeah.
action.
People are
going
loving
on.
this new episode of Survivor's Play, Blood on the Clocktower. Do we have a slide for that?
Yeah, hold on.
Still getting the kinks. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
that. Look at that handsome devil. Hey, look at
Yeah.
all those handsome devils.
Yeah,
Like, literally
look
a
at-
handsome
look at-
devil.
Yeah, look at Sam Fallon here.
Yeah.
He's like the Rizzler.
Yeah. He's got
Like, my kids do that. The influencers do that. I think that they did.
Yeah.
Did Carl Jacobs do that at some point? He was like, play the idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very fun. And people are saying this is maybe one of our most fun ever, which I agree with.
Mhm.
And yeah, a very fun episode. So I highly recommend if you're into the Clocktower thing, that's an episode to watch.
Okay. Then Tuesday night, I've been doing something fun with Pluto TV. I've been doing a stream along on my Instagram. You can watch me and watch along on Pluto TV. I will be live on Tuesday night. What is that? 8 p.m. when we're going to do it? I'll be watching an episode of Survivor David versus Goliath.
Wow.
I don't even know which one.
Is it just
And
a random episode? Like, how does it work?
that Pluto TV is just streaming 24/7
Oh, so you just
Survivor
jump in.
episodes. So whatever's on, I could talk about it. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the commercials, and we'll have a lot of fun on a Tuesday night as we get ready to kick off a new season of Survivor. So follow
Speaking
me.
of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Follow
No,
me
I
on
was saying-
Instagram and then watch it on Pluto TV for free.
Like, speaking of Survivor, kind of like taking, being part of the cultural conversation. Rob Cesternino is part of the cultural conversation. You're everywhere. You're on Pluto. You're on American Airlines. There's a
so
real
I'm not on
Rob-
Pluto. I'm just watching Pluto and talking about it. But yeah, you can listen to me and Stephen Fishbach talk about many seasons of Survivor currently on American Airlines flights.
But are you like greeting can you explain to me? Because I don't get to fly American that much.
All
Because
right,
I don't have.
Yeah, so we have a great relationship with American Airlines, and they reached out earlier this year and they said, hey, we want people to be able to listen to Rob as a podcast on American Airlines flights.
Wow.
And so right now, and I don't know for how long, that when you go on an American Airlines flight, I will greet you with a message
No.
welcoming you to your American Airlines
Are you
flight
serious?
and telling
Like
you
when you sit down, like when does it play?
so it plays when every time you go to start a pice of media on
Wow.
the entertainment.
Every single. So if
device.
you watch like 6 TV shows, I'm getting 6 videos of Rob. I bet you're getting recognized a lot now, huh?
I don't know. So it is a great opportunity. Although some people, I have heard from some folks that they have, we got it, but listen, maybe everybody needs to see it more.
No, of course. It's like, it's an advertising jingle. Now you're in their heads. Now people are going to like crave that greeting from you.
Well, I'm hoping that, maybe people who did not know what Rob as a podcast was,
Yeah.
or, it's like, hey, come join our tribe of, Survivor
incredible.
reality TV fans around the
Yeah.
world.
That's unbelievable. Like probably a lot of people who would like love something like this are now discovering. Have you noticed that? Like, have you seen like an?
I haven't heard from people like I didn't know who you were, and then I flew on American
Yeah.
Airlines. But I do. Anybody I do know who flies American Airlines will text me and say like, "Hey, I just saw you."
Yeah, that's crazy. That's so fun. I feel like I want to ride American just to do that. Like, what a welcome, comforting presence.
It was a surreal experience for me when I came back from. I took my wife on our anniversary trip. We went to Paris in August, and August 1st was the first day that it rolled out. And I didn't know necessarily what the rollout was going to look like. And I sat down on the flight, and I sat down in my seat, and I saw like a picture of me like on the seat in the
Oh my
seat back,
God.
like I was like, does it connect to my Bluetooth? How does this work?
Yeah.
And then I looked at Nicole, and I saw that she also had it on there. And
That's
then
amazing.
I pushed the button, and then I started talking in the seat back chair. And the people next to me like, wait, is that you?
That's amazing. That's like a real celebrity moment. That's like the be like seeing yourself on the billboard in Times Square, except like there's 1,000 billboards across the 100,000 planes. That's amazing, Rob.
And then so I had gone to the restroom at one point. And I was walking back, and it was very weird that I'm seeing like people watching me like on the seat back as I'm walking back to my chair.
Funny.
But it's also like I see people like also trying to skip the ad and like I kind of
They must think they're hallucinating when they see you. They're like, oh my God, now
I was a little worried I was going to get beat up in the terminal of like, oh, it's the guy that we had to watch him like his ad 1,000,000 times.
Now he's coming to my seat to give me the personal spiel.
Yeah. Hey, I noticed that you were trying to skip the ad. Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. But that's so exciting.
I will say it was a little deflating when my wife has to watch the ad and it's like,
yeah, but she gets so much of you, at home. So. The rest of us only get you in little bursts.
Yeah. All right. Well, you'll be getting more than little bursts when we are back with our full-fledged Survivor 49 coverage kicking off next Wednesday night. Stephen, of course, everybody's pre-ordering the book. What else do you have going on?
That's really it for right now. I mean, truly, like my life. So like Monday is my final deadline. There's been like 6 final deadlines. I hope I said 7 finals. I don't know. For copy edits, like all the little minutiae. And it's crazy going through copy edits. You're like, oh my gosh, like, do I even know the English language? Like little like mistakes that I made and things like that you're like, oh, what is wrong with me? But they won't be there in the final book. So that's all look good. Thank you, copy editors at Penguin Random House. But yeah, and that has just been like all consuming. And then, that and Blood on the Clocktower are my identity. And of course, like having a family whom I love very much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's been great to podcast with you once again. And
I know we're back.
Our weekly standing appointment. We're so back. Make sure you're subscribed. Go to, of course, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Search for RHAP wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Take care. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.